he said, my name is Joe Hammond, and founder of JH Overcomes. I speak about overcoming adversity. And I'm not here to preach to you. I'm here to speak from experience. And the reason why I do that, you have no idea the amount of strength it took for these people to stand up here today. Like you really have no idea what that takes. And when we go through these things, it's important that we realize, I've learned this, that we don't go through it for us. We're actually going through it so we can help someone else in our future. We have no realizing it. We don't even realize it. When he was going through the situation where he was addicted to drugs, when the young lady was being sexually assaulted, when the brother up here talked about, and we'll use some of the dark humor like the cops talk about eating his gun. When the young lady stood here and said that she had no idea who was going to help her get out of her situation, she wasn't thinking about how she was going to use that story to help someone else. And that's why I'm here to speak to you right now from experience. I don't preach. I'm not a preacher. They got people for that. I'm not someone, the young man, gentleman walked up to me earlier today and said, I love the motivational stuff you do. Yeah. But motivational speaking is just the beginning. We have to do more than when we say it in the moment when the mood hits. There's a process after that. And too often we don't follow that process. I'm a retired police officer. I did 20 years with Englewood PD, busy city, and former, motor cop, former hostage negotiator, former PBA president. And usually as a speaker, usually as, those positions and titles, I'm on the opposite end of these stories that you're hearing. I don't have a powerful story like this. I overcame, 5.5 years of kidney dialysis. When my sister gave me a kidney transplant and saved my life. It's still not as powerful as what you heard tonight. I overcame the thought of taking my own life because I didn't know where else to turn, because I am the helper, right? I'm the speaker. I'm the one who helps everyone else. But what happens when the lights go out at night and you have given all your energy away? You wake up the next day and you do it again. Because when you realize what you're created for, when you realize why you wear the uniform, our brothers and sisters in blue, you realize that not every individual can do the job that we've done. It's not for everyone. The things that you have seen, the things that you have witnessed, when this brother said 800 or some odd traumatic incidents, you don't count them. Yeah, they give you a psychological test when you go through the academy to get hired. But what happens when you find the first kid in hot water? What happens when you see someone run over by a car? What happens when you have to be the one that takes your partner's gun? What happens after that? They just let us go. Why? Because we're cops. We handle it. We're good. We're supposed to be. We're not supposed to be soft, right, bro? We're not supposed to reach out. I said this at a PBA meeting, and I was opening up some avenues to be able to talk about things like this as the president. And I had a gentleman in the meeting, and he was a white shirt. And the minute I started talking about brothers and sisters taking their own lives, this white shirt stood up and said, "Oh, we're not that soft. We don't have to go through this." And that was the biggest problem that we had. When we have people who can tell younger officers that we don't talk about that, we don't let it out, we just take it home, we eat it and we swallow it. But the problem is when the lights go out at night. I don't know what this is flying around my head. The problem is when we go home and there is no one to talk to, because we don't want to put that on our ladies. We don't want to put that on our husbands because they're not built for that. The things that we've seen, not everyone is built for, right? But not everybody can handle the things that we have seen. But the problem is sometimes we can't even handle it. And we fight it. And we swallow it. And we keep on doing it over and over again. It was 2019 when I got injured on the job. And I had shoulder surgery, okay? And again, my story is not as powerful as some of the stories that you heard this evening. But when I had the shoulder surgery, you know, the pain was so incredible. People said it was going to be incredible. If you ever had shoulder surgery, it hurts, okay? It hurts. You know, and I wouldn't take the painkillers. And the reason why I wouldn't take the painkillers is because I had seen what they had done to many people before me. And when it happened, there was so much pain that I was forced to take it. The issue at the time was my mother had also had a stroke. The issue at the time was that my mom is now on her deathbed and I have to be the one to be there for her in the pain that I'm in. But I can't get out of bed. Sister called and said they rushed mommy to the hospital and we need you here. I said, sister, I said, please let me know. I'll hop in an Uber right now. I just took a painkiller. I'm about to crash out, but just tell me if they need me right now. She said, okay, I'll keep you posted. I fall asleep that night, and I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Eyes wide open. She needs me. Get in the car. I drive. I shouldn't have drove to the hospital. I get there, and there's a room full of people there, and there's, you know, the nurses and the doctors, and the nurse says to me, she says, Joe, she says she's very comfortable right now. And you're watching this, you're watching your mom, you know, someone you love, just slip away after you were just laughing 2 weeks ago. And you're watching this, but the whole time, they don't know that you're on these painkillers. They don't know that all the time that you're standing there, there's firecrackers going off in your brain. And then your family looks to you and says, what do you want to do? What do you think we should do? And I looked down at mom, and I knelt down at the side of the bed, and I said, Mom, I said, it's okay. If you want to go, it's okay. Because what happens is, in my experience, I've learned that a lot of times the people that we love so much, when they're in that situation, they hold on because of us, because of the people in the room, and they don't want to see us hurt, right? So having said those words and going over to the nurse and to the doctor and saying, listen, we just want to make her comfortable. You know what that means, right? You know. That's it, right? But the family puts that decision on you. That's a no-win situation, I'm letting you know right now. There's always going to be someone who says you shouldn't have done it. There's always going to be someone who says you waited too long. But I know for a fact that this is not what she wanted. So I had to make a decision. And this wasn't too long ago. I had to make a decision. And I said, Mama, it's okay to go. And she slept away right there. Now, there's crying and there's tears, but then you realize, I don't even have time in the morning. I got to plan a funeral. Why? Because you're the leader now. You're the one in charge. Everybody's looking to you. But all the time, no one knows that there's fireworks going off in my brain. I'm in pain, fighting through it. I'm taking painkillers, and it's the perfect cocktail. It is the perfect cocktail. It's the perfect excuse. No one would blame you if you took those painkillers. No one would blame you if you put yourself in a bad situation because you're going through so much. And then I get a phone call saying that I won't be able to return to work. See, when I retired, it wasn't because I wanted to retire. It was because I was forced to retire with the shoulder. And for a lot of people who don't know this, it's a lot easier when you're making a decision, but when someone's making a decision for you and you're not ready to go, it's different. It hits different. And here it is. We're just adding to the cocktail. And then I got COVID. And then when COVID hit at my time, it was a death sentence. No one knew what it was. People calling me crying, people bringing me food, people just dropping packages at your door, and before you can get to the door, they're in the car. And you don't know what to expect, and you're there with your daughter. Neither one of you can go anywhere. It was the perfect cocktail. But then I remembered who I was. And I remembered why God put me here in the first place. He put me here to help other people with my stories. And now that I walk in those stories, now that I'm able to share my past experiences, see, this is what you're hearing from me right now is only because I have 10 minutes. But there's so much more, and there's so much more that those brothers and sisters that stood here before me and talked about. You have no idea what they went through every single moment. You can't explain it in 10 minutes. But when you remember who you are, and this is what happened to me, when you remember, brothers and sisters, why you put the uniform on in the first place, it was because of this gentleman that stood up here before and said, you know what, I appreciate the brothers and sisters in blue. That's why you took the job. You took the job to help people like that. You didn't take the job to listen to the criticism from the brothers and sisters in uniform who criticized you because you blew a call. You didn't take the job because you want to worry about what everybody else around you, the politics is worrying about, the mayor and all the people in City Hall are thinking about. You took the job to help the people. And when I realized that my job was over with the uniform, I knew I had another job after that. To share my stories, to make sure I help people, to make sure I help other individuals go through the situations a little bit easier than I had to go through. So you have no idea how much courage it took for these people to stand here tonight and tell their stories. But if you take something from this evening, take their stories and reach out. Take their experiences and reach out. Because we don't look at them any differently when they stood here. In fact, it was the bravest thing I've ever seen when this young lady stood here and told a crowd full of people that she was sexually assaulted. And it was even braver for a man to say it. Because you won't find many men who will say what that brother said tonight. So I'm going to leave you with this. I know, buddy, I know, it's been long. I'm going to leave you with this. If you only just take the time, take these lessons, take these experiences, and use them for yourself, the things you go through might be just a little bit easier. I promise you that. All right, I'm your boy Joe J. Joe becomes America's friendliest cop. I will see you when I see you. But until then, peace.